Hello, everyone. Um, Tomorrow marks the beginning of financial shift that's going to permanently alter your relationship with money. This isn't lottery fantasy or get rich quick scheme. This is earned opportunity finally materializing. This is value you've been creating finally getting compensated properly. This is financial blocks that have kept you struggling finally dissolving so money can flow the way it's supposed to flow to someone operating at your level of competence and effort. Uh, Let me describe what your life is going to change forever looks like when money is the catalyst. It looks like stress evaporating, the constant mental calculation of whether you can afford things, the anxiety about bills, the shame of having to decline invitations because your budget won't stretch, the exhaustion of working multiple jobs or hustling constantly just to stay barely afloat. That stress has been background noise for so long, you've stopped consciously hearing it. But when money arrives and that stress lifts, you're going to realize how much energy it was consuming just to manage scarcity. Or it looks like options appearing where only obligations existed before. Ability to choose where you live based on preference rather than affordability, ability to pursue opportunities that don't immediately pay but that serve long-term goals, ability to help people you care about without depleting yourself. Money doesn't solve all problems, but it absolutely converts certain categories of problems into simple decisions. Or it looks like respect shifting. People treat you differently when you have resources. Not because money makes you a better person, but because financial stability signals competence and success in ways society values. Doors open, opportunities present themselves, networks become accessible. That's not fair, but it's real, and you're about to experience that shift firsthand. Some people hear you're going to be rich, and their first response is skepticism because they've been promised financial breakthroughs before that didn't materialize. They've tried manifestation, they've worked hard, they've made smart choices, and money still stayed tight. But this is different. This isn't about trying harder or believing more intensely or visualizing abundance. This is about timing and opportunity and readiness converging in moment when you're actually positioned to receive and keep wealth instead of getting it briefly and losing it immediately. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider what would change in your life tomorrow if money stopped being primary constraint on your choices. Maybe you'd quit job that's grinding you down but that you can't leave because you need the paycheck. Or you'd relocate to place you actually want to be instead of staying where rent is affordable. Or you'd invest in education, training, equipment that would amplify your capabilities but that you can't currently afford. Or maybe you just breathe, just exist without constant financial anxiety. Just experience what it feels like to check your bank account without dread. Um, for some people, rich means millions. For others, it means having comfortable buffer between income and expenses. For others, it means not having to choose between paying bills and buying groceries. Whatever your version of rich is, that's what's coming, not someone else's definition, yours. This reflection invites you to consider What does rich actually mean to you beyond just more money than I have now? There's something specific about starting from tomorrow that needs examination, because immediate time frame creates both excitement and suspicion. How can financial situation change tomorrow when circumstances that created scarcity have existed for months or years? Here's how. Opportunity you've been building toward is about to pay. Job offer coming through. Client signing contract. Investment maturing. Project launching. Sale completing. Money that's been pending becomes available. Or debt getting forgiven or resolved in ways that immediately improve cash flow, even though total wealth hasn't changed yet. Sometimes getting rich starts with keeping more of what you already earn instead of watching it drain toward obligations, or sudden expense you were bracing for not materializing, which functions like windfall, even though it's technically just disaster averted. Car that was about to die, lasting longer. Medical issue resolving without costly intervention. Expected bill being less than feared. Or someone deciding to invest in you, loan you money, give you gift, create opportunity that immediately improves financial position. Not because they owe you, but because timing aligned and they're in position to help and you're in position to receive. Tomorrow doesn't mean you wake up to $1 million in your account. Tomorrow means first piece of financial transformation begins, and that first piece creates momentum that accelerates over following days and weeks. This reflection invites you to consider, what opportunity have you been working toward that might be closer to paying off than you realize? Let me describe what different forms this wealth might take, because getting rich has multiple pathways, and which one you're experiencing depends on your current situation and skills. For some of you, this is employment wealth. You're getting a job that pays significantly more than you've been earning. Promotion, new position, offer from company that compensates properly. You've been undervalued and underpaid for too long. That's correcting starting tomorrow through opportunity that recognizes your actual market value. For others, this is entrepreneurial wealth. Your business, your side hustle, your creative project is about to reach critical mass where income jumps from supplemental to substantial, where what you've been building in spare time becomes what you do full time because it's finally financially viable. You've been planting seeds. Harvest is starting tomorrow. For others, this is investment wealth. Something you put money or time into previously is maturing or appreciating or paying dividends. Real estate, stocks, cryptocurrency, business partnership, something that's been growing quietly, is about to generate returns that change your financial baseline. You made smart bet even if you didn't know how smart at the time. It's paying off starting tomorrow. For others, this is inheritance or gift wealth, money coming from family, settlement, lottery, unexpected source you didn't plan for or work toward directly. This type makes people uncomfortable because it feels unearned. But receiving wealth you didn't earn through labor doesn't make you undeserving. Money is just tool. And if tool arrives through lucky timing rather than hard work, you're still allowed to use it. For others, this is debt resolution wealth. Your financial stress isn't from low income, it's from high debt load. And that debt is about to get cleared, reduced, or restructured in ways that immediately improve your financial breathing room. Forgiveness, settlement, bankruptcy completing. However it happens, the weight lifts, starting tomorrow. This reflection invites you to consider which category resonates most: employment, entrepreneurial, investment, windfall, or debt resolution. There's something critical about what you need to do tonight to prepare for wealth arriving tomorrow, because receiving money is skill, and most people who've lived in scarcity haven't developed that skill. First, you need to decide now how you'll handle first influx of cash. Not detailed budget, just broad intention. Will you pay down debt, build emergency fund, invest in something that generates more money, spend on thing you've been denying yourself? Deciding before money arrives prevents you from making emotional decisions after it arrives that you regret later. Prevents you from blowing first check on stuff that feels good momentarily but doesn't serve long-term financial health. Second, you need to identify whose advice you'll ignore when money arrives, because people will have opinions about your money. Family will think you should share it. Friends will suggest you spend it on them. Financial advisors will push their products. Decide now whose voices matter and whose don't, so you can protect your financial decisions from people whose interests don't align with yours. Third, you need to examine your money beliefs, because beliefs about deserving, about rich people, about whether money is good or corrupting will determine whether you can keep wealth or whether you'll unconsciously sabotage yourself back to familiar scarcity. If you believe rich people are greedy, or that having money while others struggle is immoral, or that you don't deserve abundance, you'll find ways to reject or lose wealth even when it arrives. Those beliefs need addressing tonight before money tests them tomorrow. Fourth, you need to set up systems for managing money properly. Bank account that separates spending from saving, app that tracks expenses, automatic transfers to savings or investment accounts. Whatever infrastructure helps you manage money responsibly instead of just letting it flow through your hands without retention. Systems matter more than willpower. Create systems tonight. This reflection invites you to consider, what's your first impulse when unexpected money arrives? Save it, spend it, invest it, or share it. Let me address what changes besides just bank account balance when financial situation transforms, because money shift creates identity shift that people don't anticipate. You've been a person who struggles with money potentially for years. That identity has shaped how you see yourself, how others see you, how you make decisions. When you're no longer that person, when you're a person who has money, everything feels strange initially. Even when it's good, strange. You'll second guess purchases you can now afford, because scarcity brain still operating even when scarcity isn't real anymore. You'll feel guilty about spending on yourself because you're used to deprivation being virtue. You'll be uncomfortable when others still struggle while you're comfortable, because survivor guilt is real. That discomfort is normal. It's transition tax between identities. It doesn't mean something's wrong. It means something's changing. You'll also notice relationships shifting. Some people will be genuinely happy for you. Others will be threatened or jealous. Others will suddenly need things from you they never needed before. Money reveals people's true relationship to you, whether they value you or what you can provide. And you'll notice opportunities appearing that weren't available when you were broke. investments that require minimum capital, networks that are expensive to access, experiences that cost money but that create value beyond the cost. Wealth creates access, and access creates more wealth if you use it strategically. This reflection invites you to consider, what opportunity would you pursue first if money was an obstacle? There's something about sustainability that matters enormously, because getting money once is different than keeping money and building on it. Tomorrow starts wealth journey, but journey requires ongoing intelligent decisions, or you'll end up back in scarcity despite initial windfall. You need to resist lifestyle inflation, tendency to increase spending to match increased income, so you're always just barely comfortable regardless of how much you earn. You need to invest in things that generate more money rather than just consuming everything that comes in, whether that's literal investments or investing in your skills, your health, your network, things that create future value. You need to build buffer so one emergency doesn't destroy your financial progress. Emergency fund isn't sexy, but it's difference between sustainable wealth and temporary relief. And you need to stay humble. Wealth doesn't make you better than people who don't have it. Doesn't make you smarter or more deserving. Just makes you luckier or better positioned or better timed. Humility protects you from arrogance that alienates people and from carelessness that wastes resources. You remain in complete control of what you do with wealth when it arrives. You can steward it wisely or squander it foolishly. Build on it or blow it. Use it to create freedom or create different problems. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has activated both hope and fear. Hope that finally, financial struggle might end. Fear that this is just another false promise, another disappointment waiting to happen. Whatever you're feeling, honor it. Take what resonates, softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If you woke up tomorrow with financial security you've been lacking, what's the first thing you do with that security?